Hello, my name is Andrea Craig, and I'm an associate clinical social worker here at Livingston Memorial's Grief and Bereavement Counseling Program. In our counseling program, we companion individuals and families while helping them gain the understanding and insights about their relationship with their own grief. And today I'm here to talk to you about why your grief is unlike anyone else's grief. It's your grief and unique to you. So, you may be asking, why is my grief unique? Don't we all grieve? Yes, we do. Dr. Robert Niermeyer, professor emeritus of psychiatry at the University of Memphis, has been quoted as saying, "We grieve as a function of who we are, who we lose, and how we lose them." Grief is unique because of who we are. You are unlike any other person, a completely unique individual, and your grief is unique to you alone. There are ways in which you respond to loss are unique to you. No one will grieve exactly the same as you, even if you are all grieving the same loss. So, what is it about you that makes your grief so unique? Well, your culture, for one. These are the values, the beliefs, the rituals, sometimes the stories, and the images that hold specific meanings for you. Now, think about your culture and the rituals you've learned about grief and loss. Each culture has practices related to mourning, memorials, and remembrance. Your ethnicity makes you unique. These are the social and cultural characteristics, background, ancestral experiences, language, religious beliefs, and values that have been handed down through the generations in your family. Think about your own ethnicity. What beliefs and values regarding loss have you learned that are a part of your relationship with grief today? Your religion, the beliefs you hold about death, about afterlife, the nature of the soul, miracles, and so on. The different religions subscribe to different belief systems regarding death and afterlife. What does your religious faith tell you? Your spirituality. This is your personal relationship and belief system with God or a higher power, and it is uniquely you. What role does your spirituality play in how you grieve? Your family beliefs and your relationship dynamics. What did you learn from your parents and your other family members about death and dying, grief and loss? Who were your role models? Did you come from an open or closed family system? What relationships were abusive, supportive, loving, conflictual? It is also worth remembering that we grow outward from our family belief systems and relationship patterns to incorporate new experiences, new people, interactions, role models, and develop new or altered beliefs that may often differ in some ways from those of our families. Your relationship with your loss. Who was the person in relation to you that you lost? And what kind of relationship did you have with that person? Nobody else had that same relationship. Your grief is unique. Your age at the time of the loss. How old were you at the time of this loss? Were you a child, a teen, an adult, a senior settling into the golden years? A young child will grieve much differently than an adult because of factors such as emotional and cognitive maturity, development, experiences, and modeling. The age of the person you lost. Was this loss an infant who perhaps didn't get the opportunity to live a long and full life? Was this a child just learning to explore the world around them? Was your loss a peer or an elderly person? The age of the person who died often impacts us differently. There are lost hopes and futures to be grieved and reconciled, no matter what the age of your person. Also, know that your grief will be different depending on if the death was an out of order. This is to say, a parent grieving a child or a grandchild. Your loss and grief history will make your grief unique. Think for a moment about the losses you have experienced previously. How do you recall grieving and mourning? Who taught you about death, dying, and how we grieve? These experiences play a large role in how we grieve today. Our history of previous losses informs our current grief. Past bereavements can amplify or modify our reactions to new losses. How did the loss occur? Was the death expected or unexpected? Was your loss due to accident, disease, malpractice, suicide, overdose, unknown circumstances. How your loss happened will affect how you grieve the loss. Furthermore, how you feel and think about the death event will impact how you grieve. Your socioeconomic status. This is your ability to be able to take time off from work. This is your assets and your savings and other resources needed to cover the costs of the funerals. Your career and profession and life stage. Where are you in your career and in your life? Are you a student? Are you just starting out? Do you work in an environment that offers bereavement support? Are your coworkers understanding and compassionate? Your support network and support systems. How supportive are your friends? Do you have activities you engage in, or are you finding yourself feeling alone and isolated? The presence of supportive friends, family, and community can significantly impact our grieving process. Having someone witness our pain and acknowledge it is essential for healing. Your gender. What messages were you taught about how males and females express emotions? What emotions do you feel comfortable expressing, and what do you believe about emotional expression? Your personality. These are all of the characteristics and traits that make you you. Do you have a similar smile or other traits or characteristics as the person you've lost? That can also influence your grief and is part of what makes your grief unique to you. Our inherent personality traits and coping mechanisms shape how we navigate grief. Some people seek solace in solitude, others find comfort in sharing with others. Your relationship with others. Are you introverted? Are you more outgoing and social? Do you prefer your own company or do you prefer to be with others? These factors will also influence your grief experience. Your geographical location. Where are you physically will also influence your grief. Are you in a community that supports and adheres to different beliefs, rituals, things like that are different than your own beliefs? Or are you in a community that is supportive to your beliefs? And your mourning style. Losing a loved one is devastating, and going through the experience again doesn't necessarily make it any easier. What do you do to take the grief you feel on the inside and bring it outside of you through mourning? Some join support groups, others journal, cry, talk, reminisce. What helps you? Grief is personal and individual. Every person experiences its nuances differently. Your personality, your support system, your natural coping mechanisms, and many other things will determine how loss will affect you. There are no rules, no timetables, and no linear progression in grief. Some people feel better after a few weeks or months. For others, it may take years. Don't compare one griever to another, even if they're from the same family. Some grieve with darkness, some with light, some with both, depending on where they are in their cycle of grief. It would be a mistake to conclude that one is better than the other or that there's a right or wrong way to grieve. There are just different ways to grieve, different feelings evoked by loss. This is also true of our relationship to hope. Hope can be like oxygen to people in grief. For others, especially in the early stages, it can feel invalidating. One griever once said, "In my sorrow, how dare you want me to feel hopeful? About what? Do you need me to hope to make you feel more comfortable?" Each person's grief is as unique as their fingerprint, but what everyone has in common is that no matter how they grieve, they share a need for their grief to be witnessed. That doesn't mean needing someone to try to lessen it or to reframe it for them. The need is for someone to be fully present to the magnitude of their loss without trying to point out the silver lining. If you take nothing else from this webinar today, please remember this: treat yourself with kindness, compassion, and without judgment. You have the right to grieve, and no one, including yourself, can tell you when it's time to get over it. Thank you.